September 8th, 1942. The campsite is just as bad as one might expect. We set up tents last night and started out putting them in the woods where they couldn't be seen from the air. The idea was all right, but the mosquitoes presented too many arguments, so after the first tent, we set the rest in the clearing. I'm carrying about 100 bites to the rear of each knee and didn't sleep last night, but the tents are up. The first lesson of the jungle is don't wear shorts. We had no more than sat down to dinner when the air raid siren screamed. So we charged up the hill to our slit trench. Soon, 26 medium bombers of Nipponese origin unloaded their bomb bays on 7 Mile drone. This was our first taste of daylight bombing, and we were properly scared. This is almost war. These first missions are exceedingly difficult, for the weather is always bad, and with no experience over the terrain, navigation is mostly by guess and by God.
And as a pilot, reconnaissance pilot, you had to be the pilot, navigator, radio operator, and cameraman. So we had really 4 tasks.
This is the most difficult flying in the world, for the altitude cannot change and the airplane must be level at all times. But these pilots are specifically trained for their tasks. Smoothly and completely, our boys fly their missions day after day, assuring America of final victory. Our team is red hot. Moffett to Rabaul, Shapeless to Woodlark, Rigsby to Wewak, Hargi to Salamaua. Monday, December 14th. Learned this morning that the Japs landed 3,000 troops at Buna last night. Buna, supposedly a quick and simple job, has become a very difficult nut to crack, and with the arrival of last night's troops, becomes steadily worse. Wednesday, December 16th. Gather round, chillin', for 8th photo has woven a gossamer thread of gold midst all the gloom. This is a tale about a sterling but oft-forgotten group of men, the airplane mechanics. With the oldest and most delicate ships in the entire South Pacific, they successfully put in the air 4 ships out of 7, and 2 others ready to go if needed. On top of that, 4 of those ships completed 9 missions without a sputter. We have fun together, we get drunk together, and we fight a war together. We were told when we left for foreign service that nothing would bring men so close to one another as living together under combat conditions. We know how true that is now. Tragic day. Lieutenant Paul Staller is now long overdue at Port Moresby, and they have no word from him there. Lieutenant Peterson departed at 0610 for dawn patrol of northeast New Guinea, and nothing more was heard from him. Lieutenant Philip D. Listner took off at 0200 and crashed fatally almost immediately thereafter. The plane burned almost completely with the pilot in it. Lieutenant Morton took off this morning for the Ramu Valley. Our last word was the terse message, over mountain range. Lieutenant Blackard departed this morning at 0812 for Salamaua. We had no radio contact and hence can only surmise. Captain Post set out for what may be his last mission. He departed for Rabaul at 08:15 this morning, and our last radio message was received. This time it was Ken Shapeless Murphy, and again it was one of our best pilots. It seems to be that he must have been jumped by fighters that were waiting for him over New Britain. Murph had one of the best flying records in our squadron, and his splendid work in operation. Saturday, June 5th. Once again, we face an empty chair as word comes from Dobadura that Lieutenant Frederick Hargesheimer has been missing since 1700 this evening. Our finest reconnaissance pilot, and one of the mainstays around which this squadron has been built, he will be sorely missed, first as one of our finest friends, and second for the work and talent of which he was so unsparing. Hargy was flying the coastline Rico of New Britain, and his last radio message placed him at Open Bay. Men have come out of that area before, and will again. If there is the slightest chance, Hargy is a good bet to make it. It is our fervent hope and prayer that such is the case.